I went to Phoenix and I bought 50 homes from different banks. And those homes bought for an average of $27,000 a door, and the average foreclosed mortgage amounts were $230,000. So a little under 10 cents on the dollar, right? And people looked at me at the time, and they're like, "You're crazy. You've got this property in Houston you can't sell, and you're out buying 50 houses in Phoenix. You've got to try and compartmentalize the problems in one area, and if you can profit in another, then hopefully the profit in the one area offsets the losses in the other area, right?"
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level, and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to Investor Fuel Podcast. My name is Leo. I'm your host today, and today I'm joined with someone I've been looking to chatting with for a long time. Adam, Adam, who's been making actually serious moves in the real estate industry. Glad to have you here, Adam. How are you?
Excited to be here, Leo. Yeah, pretty good, man. Pretty good. Sunny day today, and yeah, it's start. I guess we've had the sort of summer slow down a little bit. Start of September. Let's go.
Very good, very good. Some people, they start saying that when September comes, you feel like it's December, because of the air. So very good, very good. I'm very glad to have you here, man. Listen, I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you've been dealing with all the with your own portfolio. Okay, can you know, tell us a little bit, how were you able to build up the portfolio that you have right now?
Sure. Well, I came to the States in 2000 from the Netherlands, and I had a semiconductor distribution company there, and I was looking to open an office in the States, and I'd started buying commercial real estate as a sort of a side business in the Netherlands. And when I moved to Houston originally, I started buying apartment buildings with the excess money I was making from that trading business, and kind of grew it to maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 buildings, maybe 150 units, smaller properties, and was in overseas actually at the time, and found out that our property manager had been stealing a whole bunch of money. And I was like, man, this sucks. There's so many moving parts, and there must be a better way to invest in real estate, where you're not dealing so much with tenants and toilets, and there's not so much turnover. And so I kind of started looking at triple net leased real estate as an opportunity. And so I bought my first triple net lease building in 2004, and grew that portfolio to where it is today, which is about a 1.4 million square feet. And it's roughly split 50-50, multi-tenant industrial, it's kind of known as small bay industrial, and then multi-tenant retail. And along the way, of course, there's been the financial crisis. I did get back into apartments and homes for.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
For a little while in 09, buying hundreds of houses for pennies on the dollar, which we can talk about if you like. But the fundamental backbone to the business since then has been triple net lease real estate. And the reason I think that is an interesting asset class is because it really allows you to scale. And like I said, there's less moving pieces. It's a lot easier to underwrite. To me, it's a more favorable asset class.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. Adam, something that really caught my attention about you was the way that you've been able to handle your business by yourself and build up the 1.3 million square feet of multi-tenant retail and also industrial. All right. Now that's not easy to do. All right. So what's been the key, okay, to keeping that machine running smoothly the way that you do?
So I think the key is, initially you've got to do everything yourself, right? If you should never hire someone to do something if you don't know how to do it yourself. So I think the key is, especially when you're starting out, you got to be the chief cook and the bottle washer, right? You got to do everything, soup to nuts. You got to know how to lease. You got to know how to manage. You've got to know how to turn units. You got to know how to fix, ACs. You got to know how to shop for stuff. So you kind of really understand the nuts and bolts of the business. This is applicable to anything, not just real estate. And then once you kind of have that knowledge, you've got to look at what you ultimately or where you ultimately want to go with the business, right? I mean, if you don't know where you want to take it, you're going to go round and round in circles. So I kind of, set, as I call it, my life GPS, where I wanted my life to go, and then how I was going to get there. And I realized that, having had a number of operating businesses in the past, I realized my strength is not managing people. And I've also seen, many market circles over the years, and, have seen that, companies will take on loads of staff. You invest a lot of money in that. And then when the market turns, you can't afford to keep them. And all that human capital is gone, and that investment basically goes with it. But on the lead up to that, you're often buying buildings or products or whatever just to support the payroll, basically. So it kind of is a feed the beast problem, and I didn't want to be in that situation. I wanted to be able to pick and choose. So I made a conscious effort to choose assets that I felt I had a very strong knowledge in, and then hire experts that have, or companies basically that I subcontract the management and the leasing out to, that, allow me to then scale or contract depending on the market. But it allows me not to have a payroll. And no payroll means no expenses, no office, no staff, and a lot less drama. So it means you can also function from, anywhere in the world. The trade-off to that is obviously that, no one does something as good as you do. But, you have to realize if you want to scale that you can't do everything, right? So
Exactly.
you have to be okay with maybe not 100% good, but, 80 or 90% good. So that's kind of, my playbook, as it were.
Right. All right. Wow. That's actually pretty cool, man. Okay. The way that you've been able to navigate the whole process, the whole learning process, because you had to learn a little bit about everything to become the person that you are right now. Am I right?
Absolutely. I mean, you should never ask someone to do something, number one, that you are not prepared to do yourself, is kind of the old adage, right?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And then on top of that, I think that if you don't understand something or know something, you're not going to know if someone's ripping you off, or you've got to know, you've got to have a good knowledge. This is a big boy business. You can make a lot of money, but you can lose a lot of money, right? So you've really got to know what you're doing. I think that you really have to have a strong basic understanding of, the asset classes that you're in, the markets that you're in, because otherwise, you're not going to recognize, when mistakes get made, when you're making a mistake. And obviously the best way to, learn is to make mistakes and hopefully learn from that, so you don't make them again.
All right. Now, I know that every operator, at a moment, where things get real, okay, maybe a deal went sideways, or maybe a time that you had to pivot fast. Would you mind sharing one of those moments?
I think the scariest time probably was, during the last financial crisis, when everything was kind of rocking and rolling. And you may remember the time, you jump in a taxi from the airport to, downtown, wherever, and the taxi driver would just be telling you, oh yeah, I just bought, another 3 rental homes, and everyone was a real estate investor. And, I think people kind of got lifted up with the euphoria of free money or easy money. And, I had, at the time I was doing spec home, high-end spec home construction. I had 4 homes sitting completed, which I at the time, I think they were costing me like $50,000 a month to hold, and the market was dropping. At the same time, my commercial buildings, some of the tenants were having trouble, and it was looking really, really shaky. And at that moment, you really have to kind of look beyond the noise and look at how you can potentially profit from the chaos.
From the
And
chaos.
so at that time, I realized that, many markets were really getting hit badly with foreclosures and stuff. And so even though I had 4 houses in Houston at the time, probably $6-7 million of spec homes on the ground finished that were costing me money, and my tenants were a little shaky, some of them in my commercial buildings, I went to Phoenix, and I bought 50 homes from different banks. They were just listed on the MLS, and those homes bought for an average of $27,000 a door, and the average foreclosed mortgage amounts were $230,000. So a little under 10 cents on the dollar, right? And people looked at me at the time, and they're like, "You're crazy. You've got this property in Houston you can't sell, and you're out buying 50 houses in Phoenix, and what are you doing?" But here's the thing. You've got to try and compartmentalize the problems in one area, and if you can profit in another. So that in that instance, we took those 50 homes, we paid just over $1 million for, or around $1 million, just over $1 million, and within 90 days we'd sold them basically like a rent to own for a little over $3 million. Because at the time, there was a housing crisis because all these people had got kicked out of their homes. And so we were basically selling them for the same price as rent. And so people could build some equity back in their lives. At the time, a lot of people have been foreclosed. And so that was a scary time.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
For a little while, just because there was so much chaos, right? But like I mentioned before, maybe that there's always an opportunity. Every negative always has a positive. You've just got to find that positive and then block out the noise, of the other stuff. And it's not that easy, but yeah, the problem comes when there's just noise and there's no opportunity. But thankfully, there always seems to be something good, even if there's a lot of bad, and you just got to find the good.
Well, actually, a lot of people, they don't like to share that kind of stuff. When things got real, I don't know, they feel scared. And honestly, for me, that is what separates the folks who just dabble from the ones who stay in the long term, which actually you did. You saw an opportunity somewhere else where there was no noise or maybe a little noise, all right? And you were able to balance your finance, So that's actually very good, very good. Now, let me ask you something, Adam. What are you most focused in right now? On solving or scaling?
So I'm actually right now, I think there's a fundamental change coming in a lot of things. I think AI is going to significantly impact real estate and how people work and how people do things. I think, and I'm not quite sure. I see, a lot of, I'm a little older than maybe some of your listeners, but there's a lot of parallels to be drawn from, the internet and its sort of acceleration, certainly at the end of the 1990s. But I think it's going to be a lot more instrumental than it was then, and it's going to move a lot quicker. There's obviously a lot of interest around data centers and finding land for data centers. The issue with data centers is that, they require a lot of energy. So, you've got to find land that has access to the right kind of energy sources. I think, there's a lot of noise around, interest rates and, immigration and that kind of thing, which is maybe changing my thesis a little bit. I've historically been really focused on immigrant-centric commercial real estate that serves an immigrant demographic, which in my opinion is underserved in this country. So I think there's going to be a flight to quality. There typically is when times get tough. So I'm looking to, and I'm also, getting to an age where I'm looking to maybe have slightly less moving pieces. So I'm looking to trade out of some of the more involving centers that I have into maybe slightly higher quality centers. It's challenging right now because certainly retail is still quite strong. It's hard to find any kind of value add component to it. Most centers are fully baked, and I don't like to buy fully baked product. I like to add value. I think that the multi-tenant industrial space, I believe, has become a bit too trendy, for lack of a better word. There's a lot of money chasing that kind of product where there wasn't before. I think rental rates have probably outgrown a lot of the tenants' ability to pay. And a lot of these properties are sold with the assumption of increasing rental rates. And I wouldn't necessarily subscribe to that theory. I think they'll probably stay flat or maybe soften a little bit in, market dependent, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm probably looking to scale back a little bit in the much smaller bay and maybe move into slightly larger bay. So my average bay sizes for my portfolio is probably about 1,750 square foot per space. So I'm looking to probably move more into the sort of 5, 10, 15,000 square foot spaces. So a bigger tenant, maybe more established tenants that maybe have a longer waltz on them, longer, lease rates, because the multi-tenant industrial space is somewhat like, I guess, if for people that don't know the business, it's kind of probably the closest thing to multifamily. The leases are short term, typically 1 year, sometimes 3 years. You have many tenants in one building, much like a multifamily building. The difference is most or often those leases are triple net leased. So, you're not responsible for the toilets and the AC when it breaks down, et cetera, like you would be in an apartment building. So it's quite attractive. It's also a great hedge against inflation, but, with that comes a lot more moving pieces. And, the tenants are typically not as creditworthy as, a larger company that would require a larger space.
All right. Perfect. Now, Adam, I know that a lot of people listening are either earlier in their journey or looking to level up at least. Okay. And I think they will benefit from hearing this. All right. So when it comes about relationships and growing your network, I know that you work on your own, but what's made the biggest difference for you?
So I think, I think the first thing that, I think a lot of people forget, the first thing you've really got to think about, I think, when you start out in life, when you're in your late teens, is what am I trying, where do I want to end up? What does my life look like when I'm, 40, or 30, when I'm 40, when I'm 50, when I'm 60, when I'm retiring? What do I want my life to look like? Right. And then, you really have to kind of design your, life GPS. It's like, where am I going and how am I going to get there? And then, once you've kind of decided what that might look like, then, you've got to look around you and say, okay, who are the people that could help me get there? What are the kind of, asset classes or businesses I could do to help me on that journey to where I want to ultimately end up? And, what do I need to do to get there? So, I think it comes around a lot of things. It comes around education, and that can be as simple as, reading books on, whatever it is, real estate investing, or, even the simplifying Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or whatever it might be, right? It can be joining local, business organizations or RIAs, and for the real estate people, nonprofits where, you get together every month with a bunch of people in your local area who talk about real estate, and, maybe finding some people that you kind of resonate with there. And then, after you kind of get some knowledge, joining paid masterminds, and in the space that you're interested in, be it commercial real estate or apartments or flipping homes or whatever it might be. And they always say that your net worth, is basically your network, and you become the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So make sure you spend time with people that have the same goals and same ideas as you, because a lot of people, especially when you're younger, if you have big dreams, a lot of people will maybe try and pour water on that fire, that energy that you've got, because they're scared that you're going to get ahead and leave them behind or whatever. So, you have to kind of keep, evolving as a person, keep moving the goal forward, and make sure that your friend group and your associates align with your interests and your ethics going forward. And it changes over time. You have to reset those goals as you go, because obviously when I was 20 years old, I had, very different realities than I do, in my 50s, right? So, you have to keep remembering to reset those goals and keep growing. But, remember in life, you typically get what you ask for. So make sure you're asking for enough. There's a reason that Grant Cardone did so well. He 10x 10x, right? You don't 2x, you 10x. Because if you're going to ask for 2x, you might hit 2x. If you get 10x, then you just succeeded a lot further. So it's always ask for more.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Uh, Listen, Adam, before we wrap up, okay, if someone wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, maybe collaborate or learn about what you're doing, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Okay, so the best way is either to connect on LinkedIn at Adam The Brit. You can also reach me. I'm happy to answer questions by email. The email is adam@adamthebrit.com. And I'm also going to be bringing out a book early next year. We've talked a lot about deciding on where you want to go in life, and it's called Your Life GPS: Grind, Pivot, Succeed. And it's the entrepreneur's roadmap to your ideal life. So I'm partnering with a charity called build.org, and they provide entrepreneurial education to underprivileged high schoolers across the country. And I'm donating 100% of the profits to them. So look out for that as well. It's going to be on social, etc. But in the interim, the best way is probably through LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, listen, Adam, I really appreciate your time, okay, your story, and also your perspective. We need more people like you in this space who are doing it the right way. Thanks again for
Appreciate it.
being Thanks again for being here. And for those of you tuning in, if you got value from this, make sure you're subscribed. All right. We got more conversations with people with with operators like Adam, okay, who are out there building real businesses. All right. So we'll see you on the next episode.
Welcome to the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investing Show, where I interview the nation's top real estate entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and other amazing entrepreneurs to help educate and inspire you to take your business and your life to the next level. My goal is to add tremendous value to you during every single episode of this show. If you get value, I'd love it if you subscribe on your favorite podcast player, subscribe on YouTube, and my very favorite, please share this with your community so we can impact even more entrepreneurs. Let's start today's show.